Welcome back. The City Police has embarked on an initiative to ensure that market vendors adhere to the no street side vending rule. The City Police Department says it is willing to work with vendors as long as they abide by the rules. Meanwhile, a vendor says as long as there is better communication, vendors will be willing to work with the City Police.
The vendor coordinator attached to the Castries City Council on Monday told Hot 7 that come 2021, vendors will have to adhere to the no street side vending rule. On Wednesday, our team learned that city police officers have been employed to ensure that vendors do not traverse certain streets with their trolley. Sergeant of City Police Yoni Kamshan says many business places have complained about the vendors. As a result, they have decided to embark on a drive to ensure the vendors comply with the rules.
The provisional vendors that use the trolleys, they are causing an obstruction to the business places. So not only an obstruction, they also occupy the sidewalks, especially on Bridge Street next to Blue Coral. So the City Police has embarked on a drive to sensitize them, to let them know that vending is prohibited in this area. We are willing to work with them so that we could address this issue. They are cooperating to a certain extent, but we have some challenges. But with communication, coming together and speak to each other, I think we could address this issue.
At the provisional market, Kieran Louis, an outspoken vendor who has had run-ins with the City Police in the past when it comes to roadside vending, gave her view on the initiative.
Well, if the council is willing to work with us as vendors, we shouldn't have a problem, because at the end of the day, we all have to eat. Our bills have to be paid. So we should not have a problem if they're willing to work with us. But the mere fact that everywhere you go, you cannot vend, it is a problem. Because like I always say, and you realize, hair is very dead. And if you don't go on the road to bust up a hustle, it's very difficult. Sometimes you go home empty, or what you purchase, you're unable to pay for it on time. But if the council is willing to work with us as vendors, we should not have a problem with that. We should just go with the flow.
Louise says she does not buy into the argument that street side vending is limiting the sales of vendors at the provisional markets.
I don't believe the issues is the trolleys on the street, because there you are, everybody has their customers. So no matter where you are, you have your customers, they will find you. A lot of people does not want to come to the market because they say it is too far. When they were by customs, you would have everybody going in there from the supermarket, budgeting right there. But then leaving the supermarket and coming right here, they always complain it's too far. That's the feedback I'm getting.
She says vendors will be willing to work alongside the council in the new year. According to the CCC, there should be absolutely no street side vending in the William Peter Boulevard, Coral Street and Bridge Street. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzaga.
Meanwhile, the president of the Vendors Association says many are still in a bind given that the issues that confronted them in 2020 are still in existence. Peter Ras Iper Isaac says as the year progresses, there will be many meetings to decide the way forward for vendors and the association.
The president of the Vendors Association, Peter Ras Iper Isaac, has indicated that 2021 is not looking as promising as the association would like it to. He says dry goods and craft vendors continue to be in a serious bind given that the COVID-19 pandemic is showing no signs of relenting.
We strongly believe this year will be tougher than last year. As you know, the situation with the coronavirus, it's mutating. We have the variant and so on, new strain of the virus, and a lot of places are closing down. I mean, by the 20th of this island, probably from England, the point of view of England and the United States, people dying by the thousands, and probably we are lucky we don't have people dying by the thousands here. So I don't know for especially vendors who are totally dependent on the tourism industry, how this thing is going to pan out for them, because we are not seeing any kind of light at the end of the tunnel.
Isaac says there are still many issues that have no immediate solution in sight. He says the association is awaiting consultation with various heads of government.
We don't know what it's going to be for us. The minister promised to have a meeting with us for the first week of January, but we have been calling him, and I have been calling him and have not been getting an answer from him, or he responding or answering the phone. So that's one thing. The other thing is, what are we going to do? Because we don't know what they're going to do with the rent that we are supposed to be occupying these places that we can't occupy. Some of the people, like the managers of these markets, are trying to encourage people to come and sell in the arcade or the market without putting the protocol in place, which we have a serious problem with.
Isaac indicated that in addition to there being questions and issues with craft market and provisional market vendors, an issue has also arisen with the flea market vendors.
The people who are in the flea market is another problem. NEMAC has said that they don't want to allow them on Jeremy Street because there is no way to control and establish any kind of protocol. Putting them on the Jeremy Street is causing problems in terms of the thoroughfare and the whole question of traffic moving at a snail pace and so on. So we have a number of issues we need to deal with.
He says there are multiple questions and the association has no definite answers. He says in the coming days, the association has to meet with its various members as well as government officials and other key stakeholders in a bid to provide some much-needed relief to vendors. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Should students repeat the academic year? That was the question posed to Education Minister Dr. Gail Rigobert on Monday. It follows comments by the National Students' Council that, at least for students of Form 5, repeating may be the better option.
While the jury remains out on the extent of instruction that students have lost due to school closures brought on by COVID-19, Education Minister Dr. Gail Rigobert says what is more important is that examinations be reflective of the actual instruction that students have received. Dr. Rigobert was responding to the question of whether students should repeat the academic year.
One of the concerns that we have had to toy with is the extent to which we are nimble enough to ensure that instruction is satisfied to the point that one expects at a particular class, grade, or form, but more importantly, that whatever examination is set is reflective of the instruction that has taken place in actual fact.
The St. Lucia National Students' Council on Monday said that students of Form 5 were significantly lagging behind and that there was not enough time before examinations to catch up on the entire curriculum.
In some cases, it would be necessary for students to repeat, particularly our Form 5 students. We missed out a lot of school. We missed out a lot as it pertains to our curriculum. There's students who have fallen back on their SBAs. As we know, CXC is coming up in less than 5 months. It's simply not enough time to push all this work on our students.
The Education Minister says the ministry is devising a plan.
We know that there has been some impact, and that is why both the Can-Do and Examinations Unit are working very closely to reconfigure, adjust the curricula, and of course that on the examination side we do the same thing as well to ensure that there is congruence between the two.
The council did say, however, that repeating a grade may not be necessary for all students. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
One of the major concerns articulated by the St. Lucia Teachers Union is the removal of Sanitization Day. In a recent statement, the union made an appeal to authorities to reinstate Sanitization Day. Education Minister Dr. Gail Rigobert explained that to say that there would be no more deep sanitization is inaccurate. However, the minister says adjustments have been made.
I would prefer for us to say not that the Sanitation Day was removed, but rather we have embellished, improved, emphasized our cleaning program throughout the week. In fact, additionally, for consideration by the Ministry of Finance, is that a provision be made for extending the hours of janitors, caretakers, so as to accommodate that additional cleaning. And we will see that roll out in the new fiscal year.
The Teachers Union argues that this new approach by the Ministry of Education does not make sense.
There was always an issue with the cleaning of schools prior to the pandemic. They have not increased the number of janitors. As a matter of fact, Schools have been asking for more janitorial staff and they have not been getting, always budgetary constraints. So then that staff has not been increased. So how now miraculously that same trained staff before pandemic is able to do all of what is required within the specific time, within a short space of time? It doesn't make logical sense in my view.
For her part, Dr. Rigobert made the point that emphasis should be placed on ensuring that cleaning happens throughout the week and not just on one specific day.
It is not that cleaning is reserved for one day a week, but rather it is a complete embrace of the need to ensure a comprehensive cleaning, not that we weren't cleaning before, but that the effort be amplified throughout the week.
That was Education Minister Dr. Gail Rigobert speaking at a Monday press briefing. The government of St. Lucia received 6 ventilators from the Pan American Health Organization PAHO on the 22nd of December 2020 to aid in combating the COVID-19 pandemic. These ventilators will significantly improve St. Lucia's capacity to treat critical patients with respiratory problems. To date, PAHO has donated personal protective equipment, oxygen concentrators, lab supplies, training of human resources, and many more hospital accessories as the government responds to the pandemic. COVID-19 continues to present significant financial and clinical challenges to St. Lucia as the country tries to secure the health and safety of citizens. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, the law year opens with a promise to improve efficiency when it comes to the delivery of justice, and more training lined up to improve the city police unit.